Alright, hello and welcome back to another episode of me moving the microphone stand and hoping that it doesn't make too much noise, also known as Minecraft, and we are in the Playland world here. And we've done a little bit of work off camera as per usual. Is rare for me. I'm doing multiple recordings in one day, but I've done quite a bit of not terraforming, but sort of landscaping, if you will. So number one, you'll notice that the cows they're out of their pen. I decided to get rid of the pen, and now we've added a lot of different trees, and we've got a little bit of a wheat farm that we'll go ahead and check out, take a look at. Of course, after we have our little snack there. And I've also gone through and updated some of the pathways. Don't necessarily see it there, but maybe more over here you'll see it. There's just a lot more grass blocks that I've got hanging out here. And as we get that speed boost. So basically what I did was I went through and in all of these sort of areas where I don't think I'm going to be doing a ton of building, I just went ahead and added in, just basically bone mealed the ground and bone mealed trees and basically just try to prettify everything up a little bit. Make it look a little bit more like a town you'd expect to see. And what I really like about it is it takes away from how dramatic the sandstone is normally or naturally, how that normally occurs. And then just went ahead and started to bone meal the ground. It's a little busy. I'm going to be sporadically just taking some of the grass out. It's a little bit too grassy for me at this point, but I do like it, and I went ahead and put a couple trees in here because the heck is a garden without any trees in it? What kind of garden are we running here? So I'm gonna probably get rid of a couple more of these, just make it a little bit easier to walk around. Oop, didn't want to get rid of that one. We also got some sunflowers. I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but I went on a little bit of a flower hunt and off in that direction. So back here, I haven't done much yet because I think I'm going to have some sort of build here, so I didn't want to build it up and then have to cut down the trees and everything. But also went through in some places and added the double tall grass, excuse me, and basically that just you bone meal it twice. So you bone meal the ground, you get the grass to grow, and you bone meal it again, and then you get the tall grass. This is just sort of a junk drawer at the moment. Just got some random things that we'll eventually take care of, but a couple places we fixed up the pathway, so it's a little bit more seamless, so you can get up and down. Over here we had to completely redo the path because of just how the whole thing was situated, and the path was running over that way, but now we've got it running more parallel or to the side of our portal build here. And then over by the beacon, we've also got quite a bit of trees and whatnot sort of around this pathway here. What I had done originally, I went ahead and built this little wheat farm in front of the cows, basically because all of my wheat is stored up there, and I would never remember to get the wheat to come down here to breed. Well, I didn't think I'd reach that far. To breed the cows, I would just always forget. And so I thought, well, let's have a local stock of wheat down here, and to me that was a good idea. So we went ahead, we put a couple of hay bales where water source blocks are. So you can see there, we've got water source blocks, so then we'll just go ahead and place it next to the wheat, and it hides that nicely for us. And I jumped back here to take a look at it, and I thought, and there's the big cow pen here, and I thought, man, that looks ugly. That just looks really ugly. So went ahead and decided to get rid of that. And then I just started to go on a bone mealing spree after that because I wanted some flowers to sort of make the wheat farm here look a little bit more natural part of the terrain. So I started to do that a little bit. And I also had a sort of a water feature that I had sort of built up out here. It basically spanned from this portal, or not portal, excuse me, from the beacon out to maybe about here. And it was just sort of this formation, went probably about as high as the leaves here, and was sort of this geyser-esque thing. And then that went down, and then it sort of branched off on either side of the wheat farm, but I really didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. So I thought I jumped up to my platform up there, so what we can do now to get little bit more of an aerial view of everything that's been going on here, and I decided, you know what, there's plenty of water already. So I'm not going to concern myself with trying to artificially add water in because one, I'm not good at it, and that was pretty obvious. I was not good at it at all. And Windows wants me to activate. This is very professional. Thank you, Windows. You're just so wonderful doing that to me all the frickin' time. Anyway, long story there. I've tried to activate it a million times, and the activation code I've already got doesn't work, and so they want me to rebuy it for like $300, and no. So every X amount of hours that happens. And I'm actually surprised it hasn't happened before then. But as per usual, getting off on a tangent, we could probably fill that little bit of water there, and it's kind of useless. But I jumped up here and I said, you know, there's quite a bit of water around here already. I don't need to artificially add. There's some more water back there too. I don't need to artificially add any more water into that area there. So I decided against doing that. So basically, that is what I have been up to on the project here. Last week, I attempted to record a glog on Playland here. It was more just of a strip mine, but I did end up showing off the wheat farm and a couple other things that I had been working on, but because I'm new to recording with the Audacity program, which is what I'm currently using, it basically was a fail. It didn't end up working out. So, while I do a little bit of talking, let's jump back up to the cylinder first and grab some more trees, and then we'll jump down to the grinder to grab more bone meal, because those are the things that we're going to need, and I just really want to plant maybe a few more, because it's at the point now where the open spaces are pretty much left for actual builds and building, so I don't want to end up sort of foresting everything and then have to go back through and then deforest it, because to me that just wouldn't make a whole ton of sense. But I'm thinking maybe I will end up doing a similar thing for a potato farm. Probably not melons. I've got more than enough, more than I'm going to use, and I don't really see a point in doing that down there, since all of my potion brewing stuff is up in the cylinder here. Once again, running. No, never mind. I was going to say running the wrong way, but it was equal distance either direction, possibly slightly less, because no, that's almost exactly middle. Yeah, that's exactly middle. So anyway, it's funny because I'm really used to having speed too, and I'm running around down there, and it's just so strange not having it up here. I feel like I'm just going so slow. Let's just take the rest of the bones from up here and convert it all down, because growing trees in certain places just takes a ridiculous amount of bone meal, and I'm just really happy that I've got my skeleton farm to help mitigate some of those issues. So I'm thinking, where's that speed boost? I heard you, zombie. Get away from me. Get out of here, zombie. I also, I don't know if I showed this, but I've got a lot of diamonds now. Actually, about a stack of diamonds now. And that was partially during, we could put a tree here, partially during, and I want it to be a tall one, so I'll show the tall trick. We've got some dirt. So the tall trick is you leave 2 spaces, and then you go up, I almost did. You go up 4, whoops, and then you place torches along the sides, and then you bone meal it till it grows. Come on, big tree, where are you? Come on. Come on. There's no reason that shouldn't be growing. Oop. There we go. And there's a nice big tree. That looks cool. I like that tree there. But as you can see, it is ridiculously bone meal intensive. And like I said, I'm very happy that I've got my skeleton grinder, because otherwise, this would be a tall task to say the least. So I really want to sort of just line the pathways with trees and foliage and flowers and everything like that, because I think it makes it more feel like it's the rural path that I'm going for. So the path is really sort of beaten down and somewhat heavily used, but maybe it's springtime and everything is just sort of coming around, and that sort of explains the lack of people around. I don't know. I'm just sort of thinking out loud at this point. Let's put a tree here. But the other thing I have been doing is I've been doing 2 oak and 2 birch for every 1 spruce, because I feel the spruce should be a little bit more rare, I suppose, in this sort of biome. Come on, don't do me like that. It's gonna do me like that. Yeah, we're gonna go through 2 stacks of bone meal, and it's not gonna grow. Yep. I really hate the new bone meal mechanic. If we put you, no, not you. If we put you there, I don't see why it wouldn't grow in the first place in the other location, but we'll see. I absolutely hate the new bone meal mechanic. It's just honestly such a pain, and it just doesn't make a whole ton of sense. Let's go with one of you, because I know that will grow, because it's whoops, because its brothers on the left and right have. So then we go through, and if it's sort of one that's like, oh, that's not a great spot, we can go back and just sort of trim it out a little bit, get rid of some of the excess. Although this tree is going to look quite bare, but in real life there are trees that are similar like that, or have been manicured in such a way that they end up appearing like that. So maybe we leave it, maybe we don't. For now, we'll leave it. Not all trees were created equal, were they? So let's go maybe over here. I don't know if we're going to have a build here. It's not a particularly large area, so this may end up just being a place for foliage and things like that. And the other thing I like about it is it gives a lot better visual sort of separation between the different pathways. So here we've got one pathway, and then we've got the other pathway right here, and when you're sort of walking down it this way, you go, well, sort of what's the point of that when I can just do this, what I'm doing now, which is sort of just run diagonally across it. And when you've got more foliage, that makes it more difficult to do, and makes it just, makes it more inclined, makes me more inclined to actually use the pathway. Also, the other thing I want to do is put more fencing in random places, again, to encourage more of the pathway use, as opposed to just sort of cutting across things, but may or may not get to that today. I'm going to say probably not. I'm going to throw down the last 2 birch trees that we've got, and then we'll put down one of you there. And so I want to try to be as conservative as I can with the bone meal, just by virtue of the fact that it is so expensive. But it looks like, oh, that's not giving us too much of a trouble. Yeah, it's looking good. We're looking good. Oop. And then we'll just go down, and in between, just smack the ground with some bone meal, randomly grow things, and like I've sort of said, I think it's way too busy like this. So what I'll do is I'll go through at some, at certain points, and just randomly get rid of some of the grasses, and that will thin things out a little bit. Because if it looks too busy, it can get a little bit distracting. But at the same time, I do sort of like it, because again, it leads credence to the idea that, or not to the idea of, but more, it sort of forces you to sort of more take the pathway route, because just visually it looks better, I guess. I don't know exactly how to sort of describe what I mean by that, but I wonder if we can get a guy going there. I don't know if I'm only at 12, probably not. Oh, cool, we did. Now, again, we want to preserve some of the things, although I don't mind that these guys are sort of corner touching there, because it's very similar to one of the new biomes that we've got going. The covered forest, I think it's called. But let's jump down to our skeleton grinder, grab some more bone meal. Been doing quite a bit of farming down here as well to make sure everything is keeping repaired, which this guy's going to need to be repaired here somewhat soon, it looks like, but We'll just grab a couple stacks of bone meal, and this is going to be probably a little bit shorter of an episode. It's not going to be probably that 30 or so minute mark, but it'll be a little bit on the shorter side. But that's all right. That's not the end of the world. Sometimes a shorter episode is a happier episode. So we're looking good in terms of the bone meal. I really need to get now some more birch, so I'm going to have to cut those guys down to get more saplings and then just replant them. Not the end of the world, but probably not the most stimulating thing, so I'll again end up doing a lot of this off camera. But I'm liking it. I'm really liking the way it's looking. I think it's really starting to tie together this whole place, as before it was just sort of this barren landscape, and you know, it just sort of looked like, well, like this, and it's just sort of these random things sticking out of the landscape. And this is sort of I think this is a plains. Is it technically a plains biome? It is. So we don't see a whole ton of trees in the plains biomes, or the plains biomes anyway, but you do see some. You know, here are some. Let's get rid of some of these. I'm just going to be doing that for the rest of my life now too, going through and cutting everything down. So let's do a little bit more. I'm liking the way this is looking here. I think that's nice. And where can we go? Maybe down more on the back side here of the sort of garden area thing that we've got going. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let's do those 5 trees. Nice. Nice. There we go. Oh, stuck in a tree. Come on. Sometimes you get stuck in the trees there, but not the end of the world. We can bust our way out. So that looks nice. Wow, that's a giant tree. I didn't even look at that. That is so cool. Look how huge that tree is. Look how huge it is. Which one is it? Oh, I think it's this guy. That's so cool. I really like that. I mean, that's as tall as our building is there. That's really cool. All right, I'm happy about that. Again, we'll go through and bone meal it up, and let's get rid of this because I don't really see a point in having it. There we go. Bone meal that up. Interesting, you can't grow grass on here. I say interesting because a lot of the times you'll find the grass in caves, and I'm sure it's a glitch. It's got to be a glitch. It's probably not meant to be in the game like that, but you do see that every once in a while. And I really do like the way this is looking. I want to keep this somewhat open as like a little meadow thing, and again, we may do some potatoes or carrots or something down here. So we may end up tearing all this down or out, and then putting in maybe some potatoes and stuff here. But I'm definitely liking it. I think this is starting to bring everything together and make it just look really nice. Let's go ahead and put another tree here. Big one? Big tree? No, not very big tree, but that's okay. It's giving it sort of a feel, and I'm liking the feel. So, again, shorter episode. Do apologize for that Windows error we had, but we know who to thank for that. Windows. Thanks. But, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end everything here. So, as the sun sets, I'll see you next time.